Right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Disney's Boy Trouble. This is a really interesting article. Really interesting article, courtesy of Variety, of all outlets as well. Now, they've done a few exposés on Disney over the years. The most prominent one was, I think it was about 2 years ago now, which outlined and confirmed basically Marvel's issues along the way and how they'd just completely bodged Blade and confirmed everything the online commentariat had effectively been saying for some time with respect to that movie. A lot of things that people had poo-pooed, in fact, which was very, very common. It's very common that people were poo-pooing it, but it was very funny and comical that they then confirmed it. So this is an interesting one. And I do like Variety, give them props for doing this. But basically, Disney's Boy Trouble. The studio is seeking original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. I mean, the funny thing is that you don't need original IP to win back men. You need to push Marvel and Star Wars back in that direction because they had a male fan base. So I think that's first and foremost one of the most comical elements of this entire article is that Disney could merely move their IP back that way, but they're not. So that's funny, right? Anyway, let's take a look. Please do hit subscribe if you're new here, guys. Do turn those bell notifications on. And like I said, let's dive into it. So, as it says here, look, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the only ones looking for a prince. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months, multiple sources tell Variety, for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Now, young men is defined by sources as ages 13 to 28. Now, they say AKA Gen Z. Now, the reason why that is they're the ones with money. They're the typical consumer market. They're actually the market which advertisers love because they spend their money. They earn typically good money and they spend their money. They are the market which is most profitable. You know, if you have a YouTube channel which caters to that demographic, you can, typically speaking, get advertisers on board. So, but also what that also reveals is the fact that they push that market away. Idiots. Absolute idiots. As it says here, first, every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Yep, true. But Disney shouldn't need to do that. They have the IP that should have locked that audience in if they hadn't mishandled it so spectacularly. So numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are a lonely, gaming-obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns. Not the easiest segment to grasp. Now, that's not true. It's not true. Lonely, meh, a lot of that's by choice, quite frankly. Gaming-obsessed? No, not necessarily either, actually. Are they more habitually online? Yes. Hampered by COVID-19? That's questionable, but okay. And not the easiest segment to grasp? I mean, that's just patently not true. It's actually quite easy to appeal to that demographic. I mean, they are the demographic which is on my channel. It's really not hard to appeal to that demographic. As they say here, but what's surprising producers, writers, and other partners in the larger industry is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to the movies. Now, that is interesting. As it says here, this is the same Disney whose multi-billion-dollar content engines, Marvel and Lucasfilm, have sated men of all ages for almost 2 decades since the company acquired them. The sources say that Disney has been seeking new IP and pitches, such as splashy global adventures and treasure hunts. I don't think anyone cares about that, but okay. As well as seasonal fare like films for the Halloween corridor. So the calls come as the Star Wars machine struggles to produce any film project and the superhero genre sheds audiences by the minute. Now, this is quite telling because this is a major publication highlighting what we've been saying here online for some time, is that the superhero genre itself is just hemorrhaging audiences. People are kind of checking out from it. And they're also out and out stating that Star Wars in general is just a dead duck at this point. It's a lame duck. It's dead. Like, it's not producing anything. They are a joke. They couldn't organise a shit in a toilet, quite frankly. So whilst two insiders say the mandate to recruit young males goes as high as the C-suite, now that is Bob Iger, basically, the task primarily has fallen on David Greenbaum, the former Searchlight Pictures co-head brought on in 2024 to run Disney's live-action film business. That label has been sorely lacking in guy-leaning fare, like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, for nearly 10 years. So studio insiders say the property is in active development, though not in its last reported iteration involving Margot Robbie. Now they're talking specifically about Pirates of the Caribbean. And they're looking like they're going to get Johnny Depp on board anyway. To say nothing of the lackluster attempt to reboot and hand off Indiana Jones in 2023, which earned $383 million worldwide on a $300 million budget before marketing costs. Now, we've said that budget before, and people poo-pooed us. They laughed at us. How can a movie cost $300 million? And here's mainstream media saying what we said ages ago. So a Disney source says that movies for Gen Z men are part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. Sure, mate. But also, if it is a strategy over all, across all labels, it just goes to show how bad they are currently, that they're missing the most marketable, profitable demographic that's going to go watch their movies. So Greenbaum recently hired Daria Sirchek, the savvy former Paramount Pictures co-chief, to assist in this effort. And Greenbaum is beloved by talent, but has largely existed in the prestige indie sphere, while Sirchek shepherded films from franchises like Sonic the Hedgehog, A Quiet Place, and Smile. Some think the push for this demographic is simply Greenbaum trying to put his stamp on live action, yet numerous power players who spoke with Variety see something ominous in the tea leaves. So, yeah, well, what is it? When the execution is correct, Disney's sweet spot at the movies has been millennials. That generation rapidly consumed the classic vault titles like The Lion King, 101 Dalmatians, and Lilo and Stitch as kids. Now they bring their children in droves to see live-action reboots. This year's billion-dollar grosser Lilo and Stitch over-indexed with men and boys, and Disney previously stated Gen Z is a different story. So built-in interest is not nearly as guaranteed for such an audience, which propelled Warner Brothers, a Minecraft movie, to nearly $1 billion haul. That was a game Gen Z played as very small kids, not to mention the euphoric viral moments it created for young men, filming key moments inside multiplexes and sharing them on platforms like TikTok. So they're trying to really get that going. So as it stands, Disney is in line with Sony Pictures and Paramount in its market share for Gen Z, 10% of ticket buyers. That's all they've got. That's mental. Well, it's mental that only 10% of ticket sales goes to Gen Z, basically. So that's 2 points above Universal, 2 points below Warner's. But Disney is not leaving the job of courting Gen Z entirely up to the film group. So concurrent to Greenbaum's hire, the corporation brought a nearly $1.5 billion equity stake in gaming juggernaut Fortnite. I remember that. That was really weird that they did that. It seemed really desperate at the time. So that's them trying to incorporate Disney's iconic stable into Fortnite. So two sources say Disney does not, however, enjoy movie rights to Fortnite itself, which would seem a no-brainer. It's weird that they haven't got that. They bought $1.5 billion stake in Fortnite and they still don't have the movie rights. That's mad. So Disney is the unrefuted king of the box office last year, which is true. And it will win again this year, with two films potentially crossing the $1 billion mark, Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Zootopia 2, which is true. That is highly likely, which I think is unfortunate, to be honest. But they've not been doing great stuff. 4 movies from 4 Disney labels have grossed more than $1 billion in the past 16 months. No other studio has had one in that time frame. So it's staggering to rival studios and deal makers that Disney is looking to blaze new trails after years of being the envy. But again, it's just because they've lost their market. Bob Iger has confirmed as much on a quarterly earnings call, saying his film group won't favour existing IP over original material. But they also think that Fantastic Four is original material, which is, I mean, that's retarded. And as they say here, much has been written about the narrowing audience for superhero movies. The performance of Marvel's latest release, Fantastic Four, which aimed to launch yet another superhero franchise led by Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, failed to meet expectations. That's despite good reviews. Yeah, well, it was crap. It was really, really crap. So as it says here, one top film executive at Disney rival, says every studio should be looking for originals, as sequels and reboots continue to exhaust the culture. People are sick of them. People really are sick of them. I mean, like I reviewed an original IP just yesterday, Primitive War. Really good fun. And you know what? It's not perfect. It's got major issues, but it's all a budget problem. The issues are mainly budgetary, and people forget it, or forgive it at the very least, because it's fun. People just want a fun time at the movies. If Disney came out and said, look, sorry, we're aware we've been lecturing you for God knows how long, we're going to stop now, I'm sure they'd get people back on board, to be honest. You know, people don't want to be lectured when they go to the films, especially younger audiences. Younger men get lectured every single day in everything that they do. They don't want to be lectured when they go and pay money, you know, to switch off. So there you go. I thought this was interesting. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Bye-bye now.